to know. Tune in for The Jill Dane Show, Sundays at 3 p.m. on South Florida's Health and Wealth Network, AM 1470, WNN.
Over 200,000 people have found a way to work from home. Find out what they're doing and how they're doing it at Online Trading Academy. Online Trading Academy is the leader in investment education. They teach the right way to trade stocks, options, futures, and Forex. You're taught by pro traders who are certified, currently trade, and are profitable. They show you what they do every day, how to find the right stocks, how money is made in up, sideways, and down markets, how professionals time the market, and how to limit the risk on each and every trade. So if you're at the point where you want to start working from home, do what over 200,000 students have done. Take a free half-day class to see what it's like. Call now to reserve a pair of seats at Online Trading Academy in Broward and Palm Beach. Online Trading Academy, the leader in investment education. Call 561-674-9800. 561-674-9800. 561-674-9800.
Now you can get Talk 1470 WNN on 95.3 FM too. Loud and clear. Health and Wealth Radio, WNN.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. It's time to take a few moments from your busy day, unwind, and be inspired as you listen to the insights of empowerment psychic Halley Elise, a top 100 psychic, speaker, and author. Be sure to contact Halley Elise at halleyelise.com. And now, the Halley Elise Show.
Hello, everyone. Hope you are enjoying the holiday season. We had what it seemed like a little dash of cold, and then it dashed away. I don't know what happened. I was out last night, and somebody said, "Where's the weather?" And meanwhile, I'm dressed as if it's still cool out. I've got a little scarf, a jacket. I love this time of the year. I love taking out things to kind of play with. And nope, it must be 80 degrees outside. What can I tell you? If you're in the north or anywhere that it's really cold, you're probably going, oh, be quiet. But you can come visit. I'll trade places with you. Anyways, the holiday season, it's amazing. We all run around with all the hustle and the bustle and try to get everything together, and before we know it, it's gone. I had someone ask recently about, do I actually sit there and try to figure out what is it that I'm committing to for the new year? And the truth is, every year, every month, every day, there is a new intention, a new commitment. But for those who say, well, I really need something to help me keep me on focus, or it would really be helpful if I kind of had a coach, or I had somebody to keep me accountable. Well, today's show, a little later, I have a lovely friend who's coming on named Regina, and she is a transformational coach. She's married her real estate wisdom, her energy work, yoga, and all of the studies that she has done over the years so that she can help others live a more authentic life. And part of that is being able to visualize, to see what it is that you desire. As I said, she'll be on a little bit later today, so you can pick her brain if you want as she shares. I'm going to give you the phone number. It's 888-565-1470. Once again, that's 888-565-1470. If you want to call in for your psychic reading, feel free to do so. We'll be doing a combination of things today. Regina will join us. I'll do readings for you, and we'll share, as we always do. Going back to New Year, visualization, seeing things come to fruition. I really want to help you with this. This is in part why Regina is going to be on today, because she could be your personal coach that helps keep you accountable and keeps you on track and helps you transform. I'm going to be doing a treasure mapping class. Others know it as vision boarding. I've mentioned this before. My terminology is a little different. I've been doing it for forever. I am so excited, though. I haven't done this in a long time. And whoever shows up in the vision boarding class always has not only a great time, but great results. Please put it in your calendar, January 15th, probably 6 p.m. I have to double check with my locale and make sure everything is copacetic for that time, but I believe 6 p.m. we will not only have a blast, you will go home with something that will help you bring to fruition, to manifest your desires. But prior to January 15th, even prior to Regina coming on in the next little bit here, get clear for yourself about what is it you want to see that is different. What do you want to transform? What do you want to elaborate on or create? It's really funny how sometimes we need others to spark our creativity or spark our interest or just simply remind us that there are other choices. Often we see people, they do the same job day in and day out, and they hope that they get a raise, or they hope at some point they can leave and find something else, perhaps do something on their own. And yet, a lot of times it's so far back in their mind that they don't bring it into the foreground. So get clear. And if you're thinking, well, I just don't know how, you don't understand. I have so much on my mind. I have so much going on. And yes, I would like that new house, and I would like a new love interest, and it would be great to have a different job. But, I have to take care of the kids, and I have to work at the job that I have. And there's just too much. I can't think about it. Well, stop. Meaning don't think, just allow. If you've ever taken a class with me, you'll find that I often say stop thinking, which is somewhat of a contradiction, one would think. And yet it's not. We have two different, we'll say very extreme gifts. The right hemisphere and the left hemisphere of our brain. They can work together very well, or they can work separately very well. Which do you want to use? Or do you want to bring them together? Bringing them together means allowing that creative part of you, that part that is problem solving, to dive in when there's a complexity, when you're overwhelmed, when things just don't seem to flow as easy as they should. All you have to do is stop thinking. And sometimes the easiest way to stop thinking is simply to think more. Okay, now if you're listening and you're thinking, all right, she's lost it. She's had too many holiday cookies. Actually, not too many, but there are some here like there were yesterday, or I should say last week. Thanks, Karen. If I didn't say thank you before, we were talking about eating cookies. Anywho, you have the ability to just allow free flow streaming. I'm going to give you an example. Yesterday at Toastmasters, I had a ball. I usually have a ball no matter where I'm at, but I especially enjoy Toastmasters because it gives me an opportunity to pay attention to others, to listen to their messages, to share my message, to fine-tune, tweak, hone skills, et cetera, et cetera. We did something that was a little out of the ordinary, and that was not have a format. The only format was that we had certain roles to fulfill, and we picked lots to decide who was doing what. I was able to do something called, well, it doesn't matter because if I share it, it won't make any sense anyways, but it's an impromptu speech. And what was kind of interesting about this was it was on something that I have no knowledge of. There was a gentleman who had gotten up before me. He had a formal speech that he presented, but he elected to do something a little bit unique, which was to share poetry that he had written. And from that, as he was speaking, I thought, wow, that's beautiful. I really enjoyed that. Oh, that's lovely. It reminded me of when I was a kid. I used to do a lot of poetry. And it wasn't because I sat down to write. It was just something that kind of came. I watched this gentleman, I listened to him when he spoke, and it ended up that I was right behind him as to get up. My subject matter was, if the Grinch had stolen your Christmas, what would you do? And it wasn't as if I had minutes to think about it. It wasn't as if I had any sort of preparation whatsoever, or even given any sort of contemplation to that type of scenario. I got up, and there was this little ping inside of my head. I just said to myself, okay, I am not going to think. I'm just going to allow, which meant, so this will actually make some sense to you. When I say that, it is not a matter of not interacting or allowing flow from consciousness, but it is a matter of doing just that, allowing that flow, taking out of thought or criticism, eliminating anything that would stop or block, and just allow. Since I was contemplating this gentleman's poetry and being reminded of my own, all of a sudden out of my mouth came a rhyme, which had to do with what would take place if the Grinch had stolen my Christmas. The short version of this was somehow I was led to talk about what the place looked like and how it was transformed by going outside and grabbing snowballs and just throwing them at everyone, and everyone being so excited and delighted about their interaction and their playtime that they had completely forgotten that anybody had taken anything away from them. It was much more funny than I'm explaining. My point, there was no thought. It was just allowing. And if you're going, okay, well, what does this have to do with helping me get clear? It means let your mind go to wherever it wants to go. Allow yourself to think back to something that inspired you, something that made you smile, something that you found amusing, something that you'd like to do again, and see what comes from there. When we quiet that analytical part of ourselves, that part of ourselves that is truly linear, that says, I have to do this, this, this. Everything has a place, and every place has a set of rules, and I have to operate that way to live in polite society, to be able to make a living, to have a roof over my head, and so on and so forth. Then you start to limit yourself. Not only do you limit yourself, you then stop that natural flow that you have. What I'm suggesting, if you are doing your darndest to get clear about what the future holds for you as to what it is you truly desire, think about other things. Just have a piece of paper and pen ready, or have your phone and have the recorder part of it on, so that as soon as that information, those ideas start to pop, that flow of content comes to you. You write it down, or you speak into your recorder and you have that information. From there, then you can whittle down to what it is that you want. I'll give you an example. If, for instance, and I just went through this recently, so I'll go ahead and I'll take it from my personal life here. There was some unusual, how can I explain this, circumstance around where my residence is. And there was the contemplation of making an immediate move. And if I made an immediate move, that would mean things would have to change very rapidly within a less than 2-week period of time. How would one go ahead, find another residence, get the movers, be packed, take care of the animals, and so on and so on and so on. And initially, I didn't do what I'm telling you to do, which is I got all caught up in my stuff and went to this place of, okay, well, if I do it this way, if I do it that way, if I think here, if I think there, if I contact this one, if I run here, run there, then I'll do it. But in essence, all it did was remind me that I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be befuddled. I don't want to be overwhelmed. I don't want to feel pressured to make a change. So I stopped. And instead, I thought about, if all was well, what would that look like? And what did I remember about my last vision board, actually, that I put on there before moving into this space? And if there was ease in every situation, how would that feel? That led me to more creative consciousness, more creative stream that actually allowed me to circumvent what was going on in a relatively quick manner, and all is well. Had I, though, stayed with that extreme, intense sense of dire necessity to make a constructive change, I would have probably driven myself bananas. Would have gotten things done, but it would not have been in a happy or a joyful way. Why would anybody want to do that to themselves? A little thought to ponder. And when we return, that's good English. When we return, I'll have my lovely guest, and she'll talk with you about visualization and more of what she does. Thank you. This is your empowerment psychic, Halley, Elise, one of the top 100 psychics in America. For over 30 years, I have offered psychic readings, programs, spiritual guidance, and other life skill techniques. As our lives have become more complicated, we often reach for answers. Who are we? Where are we headed? Are we pointed in the right direction? In addition, we often are concerned for our loved ones. I have helped thousands of people navigate their life circumstances through different modalities of spiritual and intuitive guidance. Call me at 561-755-2166 and allow me to further explain how I may assist you in clearing the path of yesterday so today and tomorrow will be a success. Call me at 561-755-2166 or visit my site, HalleyElise.com. That's HalleyElise.com. Hi, it's Halley Elise, your empowerment psychic, and it's time to take a few moments from your busy day, unwind, and be inspired as you listen to Insights. I am a top 100 psychic, speaker, and author, and I invite you to join me Tuesdays noontime on WNN Radio. I look forward to speaking with you.
You have been listening to a Top 100 Psychic, Halley Elise, your connection to all things spiritual, psychic, and empowering. For a private session, call 561-755-2166. Now, back to the Halley Elise Show and your empowerment psychic, Halley Elise.
Hello and welcome back. As promised earlier, I have my guest in the studio with me, Regina. And it's funny because we know each other for a really long time. I'm going to attempt to say your last name for probably the millionth time and see if I say it right. Ozoronsky?
Yay!
Oh my gosh. You think by now I would actually have it down.
I still get it wrong sometimes.
Oh, well, that's okay then. I kind of liked when you did Regina Queen for a while. It just made life so much easier.
Yeah, I might go back to that.
It kind of slid. It was easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so before you came in, I had shared with everyone that your background is multifaceted and that you help others because of the fact that you truly want to make a difference. The idea of transforming is something that you are constantly doing. You're constantly evolving, growing, transforming. And when you see somebody struggling, you see somebody who truly is in need, you want to make a difference. And this is why you became a transformational coach. What I love is it's very unique in the sense that you married real estate along with your energy practice, along with yoga. And when people hear that, I'm sure initially they're like, what do you mean? How can you possibly help anybody? You're all over the place. But no, not really. I was just talking before break about using the right and left hemisphere of the brain. Mm-hmm. Real estate can be very analytical because of the mathematics, because of the paperwork, because of a lot of the details that are involved. And yet it's still very creative because when you're looking for home, it's about how you feel. It's about how it looks. Granted, the money is a consideration for a lot of people, but it's not limited to just being straight, being matter of fact. So it's really quite easy to understand how you can have that mix of right and left hemisphere. Now,
Totally.
I mentioned earlier about not just transforming, but being able to visualize, being able to see what is it that you desire. And you have a technique to help people with that. You want to share a little bit?
Sure. I have several. And Hallie, thank you so much. I love that I'm here, number one, just because we do know each other for a couple years. And it's, you know, even being...
It's more than a couple at this point.
Yeah, I would say close to like 10 or 12 years probably. Right. And you've seen me transform as I continue to do. And one of the things that I know that happens with everybody and in life is that we change, whether we like it or not. Life makes us change. Yes. And I found myself, you know, in doing what I love, which is real estate. And I found there was a theme of coaching and helping people get to what they wanted to accomplish.
Right.
Which is... You know, there is a lot of fear when it comes to real estate, signing a contract, signing agreements. There's money involved. There's all these, you know, steps. And
emotion comes up.
Emotion. Thank you. And being that I myself, you know, am an emotional being, I've learned to, right? That's totally another show. I've learned to channel that energy and use the energy work. And as I like to say, the universe to help support people in their transformation and in their growth. And so it became a very natural transition, an organic transition of bringing in the energetic elements into the logical side of the brain. And you're absolutely right. You know, marrying the two, even for me, was tricky because I was like, well, how do I do this? And so I just started doing it. And my clients were saying, oh, wow, you know, this is the experience I'm having and it feels like this. And that's what I want. And so through a series of amazing events in my own life, I continue to, be inspired and see transformation happening around me with my students, with my clients, and visualization has just been such a huge tool for my growth and the people around me.
Now, when you speak of visualization, a lot of people think you just close your eyes and you see that picture and you're good to go, and that's all that's connected. Share a little bit so that they understand really and truly, even when we talk about the law of attraction, it's not just to feel it for a moment. Do you activate an energy by feeling? Absolutely. There are lots of philosophies out there about how you should see, how you should visualize, how you should connect emotion to it, how it makes a difference. And all of these things can not only send out a vibration to the universe as to what you want, they have an actual effect on the neuroplasticity of the mind.
Absolutely.
The more that you focus on something, the more you allow your consciousness to grow, the more you expand. And so there is more than just a physical duality there. It ends up hitting it on all those levels of emotion, of intellect, of physical. And with all that you're doing, again, it ties it together. So share a little bit about when you start to direct somebody in respect to visualization. How do you do that?
It's a really good question. And what I learned is that it's a science. It really is bringing in the feeling and the emotions with the mind to create this, and there's a lot of theories about the law of attraction is, do we attract, they say, that which we want, right?
Right.
And then sometimes we repel what we want, right? We get it, and then we're like, ugh, I don't want this, or why did I attract that? And, oh, that was a heavy lesson. And I think what happens with everyone, and we all have this amazing opportunity, and it's a curse at the same time, which is we have this blessing of our mind, which is an amazing tool, and it can be used as also a weapon against us.
For good or bad.
Exactly. And so, one of the amazing gifts that I feel honored to have is meditation and mindfulness.
Yes.
And, bringing in the yoga part of it is, yoga is much more than standing on your head. It's, in fact, I'm not very good at standing on my head, by the way.
And downward facing dog doesn't really do it for me.
Right?
Crane works better.
I mean, it's, and the beauty of life, I find, is that there is no one size fits all.
Correct.
And one of the things I loved hearing you share was about your experience of real estate and the residents, right? I was listening in the lobby, and I was so just inspired and reminded that even when we have all these tools and we have all these techniques, we're humans and we forget.
Exactly.
And so, even the most successful person in the world, I think, would, if they're really in tune with who they are and really authentic, would say they don't have it all together. And
No. And I have to tell you, I am very gifted to have a lot of successful people around me, people that have a huge financial base. And don't get me wrong, I have a diverse group of friends, very eclectic, but I do have the opportunity to see that higher end. And they will all tell you, get a coach.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter what level of life you are at, have a coach, because there's always somebody who can impart wisdom and direct you. There's always somebody who's done it a little bit bigger or a little faster or sees something that you're not seeing.
Totally.
And that they can help you be even more successful.
And it's, I love the analogy of a car because it really is our blind spots. It's literally like you might be, a NASCAR race car driver. You might be the best race car driver in the world and you still have blind spots.
Right.
And so that is, I feel, one of the amazing gifts about the human experience is that we have angels that are friends and clients and students and teachers.
Yes.
Sometimes partners or ex-partners or, whatever it is.
Or multiple partners.
Or multiple, right?
Different show.
I mean, there's no wrong way, right? to live life. And that's another reason why I love you is because you could just, be, I think, anytime.
You're not bored, are you?
Right. I mean, that's the beauty of all of this is just when you think, when I think that I have it figured out, I get a gift of there's a little bit more opportunity there. And my friend, he's so great, and you met him. He reminded me yesterday something happened this week, and it was, it's Tuesday, and it's already happened, something this weekend. And I don't have control over it. It's something I totally, I have to just surrender, lean back, and just say, you know what, universe, what's the lesson here? And sometimes I make a mess out of it because I'm human, and I'm reminded yesterday, you're in this experience, whatever it is, because you're capable of getting stronger. And
well, that goes back to that old message about you're never given more than you can handle. And
Totally.
so many times we go, are you kidding me? No, I'm sorry. I just cannot. No, I choose not to handle this. Thank you very much.
Right, here.
You
Why
can
don't
have
you
it
take
back.
it? You're way stronger than me.
That's it. And yet we seem to circumvent. We seem to prevail. We
Always.
in one way or another, we get through it. And we look back. And as you said, there are lessons.
Always. And I think one of the things that I have been really honored to experience with my coaches and my teachers is the better student I can be, the better teacher I can be, the better coach I can be.
Absolutely.
And it's true. I mean, we never know what's inside of us until, there's a saying, right? Eleanor Roosevelt said, I heard,
You must
seen
do
the quote.
you must do the thing that you think you cannot, or
that one, and then
because
the
that's
other
one of my
about
favorites.
if you want to see, and specifically for women, but I think
Right.
this goes for everyone, if you want to see how strong you are, or a woman is, put her
Right.
in hot water. And it's true. Like we always, our mind, and this is the amazing part about visualization, is our mind finds a way to make things true
Yes.
or untrue. And so the power of that is sometimes we just need a tweak, and I love the idea of just having support. And I used to be really resistant to coaching. I mean, I'm the type of person, I'm kind of a rebellion. And
Well, you've also been very independent and the one directing things. So the idea that somebody's going to direct you, not so good. That's what parents are for Pete's sake.
Right.
We hit a certain point, we go, thank you, but we don't need that anymore.
exactly.
I think that's most people, though,
Yep.
till you get to a place where you recognize that, well, I don't have it all down, or I know where I want to go, but I'm not sure how to get there. Actually, I had a friend who phoned, I guess it was 2 weeks back. Amazing individual. I mean, he's come through so many things that you would just sit and shake your head and go, how does anybody manage to still be here after all that? And yet he was just at this apex of seeing it and not being able to move, almost like being in quicksand. You could see if he just moved one more foot, he would be fine. It would all be behind him, and yet he was in quicksand. So he phoned, and we were talking for about 3 hours plus.
Oh, wow.
We got off the phone, and he sent me a note afterwards and said, thank you, because now I see it. And that was all that was needed. It wasn't that as a friend coaching him or guiding him, I was telling him what to do. It was letting him know and remind him that there's so much more there to look at. You just have to move away from where you're standing in that moment. Get that different view. And as you said, your mind can create or discreate anything. That's a hypnosis tool, matter of fact, where somebody's had some difficulty and you want to transmute it. You want it, you want it to be nullified so that it doesn't have an impact on you. You can actually go back into the subconscious mind and rewrite the experience. And then when you think back to it, it's still there as far as the memory, as far as the imagery, but the emotion that kept you in fear or kept you from moving forward doesn't have that effect anymore. It's been neutralized. So as you said, the mind is amazing. And when we're put into that hot water, that's when we see that, no, we don't just stop. We don't just perish. We can make a change.
Yep. And one of the biggest things that I see that stops most people, all of us, is our mind, because our mind is designed to protect us.
Yes.
And so there's this amazing teaching that I was introduced to years ago, and it's that the heart is the child and the mind is the parent. And the mind is trying to do its job to keep us safe. And so when we can soften into that space of my mind is doing what it's designed to do, and it becomes less of this battle between my heart and my mind not coinciding. And when life happens, just easing into that. And, that's where I feel all of this comes together.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with the lovely Regina. Our phone number is 888-565-1470. Once again, that's 888-565-1470. Give us a holler. You can chat with Regina. She can give you some of her wisdom. Or if you want to chat with me about what's taking place in your world and you need a little psychic boost, I'm here. We'll be right back. Thank you. Hi, it's Halley Elise, your empowerment psychic. and it's time to take a few moments from your busy day, unwind, and be inspired as you listen to Insights. I am a top 100 psychic, speaker, and author, and I invite you to join me Tuesdays noontime on WNN Radio. I look forward to speaking with you. This is your empowerment psychic, Halley, Elise, one of the top 100 psychics in America. For over 30 years, I have offered psychic readings, programs, spiritual guidance, and other life skill techniques. As our lives have become more complicated, we often reach for answers. Who are we? Where are we headed? Are we pointed in the right direction? In addition, we often are concerned for our loved ones. I have helped thousands of people navigate their life circumstances through different modalities of spiritual and intuitive guidance. Call me at 561-755-2166 and allow me to further explain how I may assist you in clearing the path of yesterday so today and tomorrow will be a success. Call me at 561-755-2166 or visit my site, HalleyElise.com. That's HalleyElise.com.
You have been listening to a Top 100 Psychic, Halley Elise, your connection to all things spiritual, psychic, and empowering. For a private session, call 561-755-2166. Now, back to the Halley Elise Show and your empowerment psychic, Halley Elise.
Hello and welcome back. If you are just tuning in, I have the beautiful, the lovely, the wise, she really is all of these things, Regina Hazaransky, who is a transformational coach. And we were talking about the mind and visualization and how even when things are at their most dire, we have the ability to transform and move beyond. And I'll share a little something too. When we were on break, we were talking about somebody we both know and how they repeatedly put themselves in harm's way. Not that they have to, but they do because they're so insistent on doing it. Remember I mentioned earlier about that we have to be done this way, this way, this way, that if you will, structure that they have in their head. It's almost like a trap because if they would stop doing it that way, there would be more peace and more ease. The message of, if nothing else that you take with you today, do remember that the way you're thinking about something is not the way that you have to think about it. What do you say to your clients when they come in and say, but, I tried that and it doesn't work? Because I'm sure you get that a lot, because I get that a lot. And I'm sure we've said it also in the past.
All the time.
Right? Like, but I did that, but it didn't work because.
So
how do you answer?
One of the messages that's made the most impact for me is, how is that serving you?
Right.
How's that working? Because if it feels good and you're happy doing it that way,
right,
have at it.
Great.
And I'm learning there is an easier way.
That's it.
There's always an easier way. And it doesn't mean that we always want the easier way. Our minds, again, are designed to keep us safe. And so sometimes it's conditioning. And, this morning was another example of that. I just surrendered and I chose to let go of something. And right. I get to do that every 1,000 times a day. But I don't always do it.
I'm trying to think, how many seconds are there in a day?
Right? There's
if you think
so
about
many
it,
opportunities to do it.
You can transition from one segment to the next. The Hicks talk about that in respect to, if you're sitting and you stand up, you've created a new segment, a new opportunity for change. If you walk from point A to point B, again, if you walk through a door, if you go in one room and out the other, if you say hello to somebody, you walk away from them. If you say hello and you stand there, all of these are opportunities to transition, to shift the way you do that. And as you said, you just said, okay, I acquiesce. I'm allowing. Because what are you supposed to do when you have no control? And if the way that you're doing something isn't working, you have to find another way. The interpretation of insanity, obviously, is doing it over and over and over again the same way and expecting different results.
And what's so beautiful, I feel, about this work is I feel, and I don't want to get too, woo-woo, even though it's perfect spot for it.
Well, I always share that I'm not woo-woo. I go back and forth.
Right. And it's, the truth is it's really, I feel like it is very scientific. It's practical in the sense that the world is not functioning at its highest right now.
Agreed.
Because of this resistance to flow and this ability to trust one another and just be generous and kind with when we need help. We lean back and we say, please help me, and receive the help. Or it's hard to ask for help, and I get that. Like, there's a real resistance to, I want to do it my way.
Well, not only that, I want to do it myself. I don't want to have to rely on somebody else. I don't want to think that I'm a failure. Address that, because I think truly that is huge for a lot of people. They believe that if they ask for help, if they get a coach, if they have a guide or a mentor, then they must be a failure, because otherwise they would have done it on their own. They wouldn't be asking for somebody else to assist them.
Right.
How do you respond to that?
Well, it's interesting because I think about my yoga class, and we have props. We have these blocks, we have blankets, we have straps, all kinds of stuff that are, tools.
Ooh, sounds kind of interesting. Are you sure it's yoga? No, I'm just kidding.
It all started with yoga.
Expanded from there.
Different show, right?
Okay, we need to stay on target here.
I'm so in the right company. No, but all kidding aside, the blessings that I continue to be reminded of in this work is that there are these tools, right? We have resources to make life easier. And I feel it took me a really long time to get this, but I have learned that these are presents.
Yes.
These are gifts. And the more I resist them, the more I'm saying to the light and to, I'll say it, God, I don't want you in my life. I don't want your strength, your courage, your love. And I'm worthy of love. We're worthy of love. You're worthy of love. All of us. So when we say, no, let me do it my way, and then you get a bang in the head or a brick in the head that's saying, don't do it
falls
that way.
on you.
Oh, what?
An anvil.
Exactly. I mean, there's so many situations where I've resisted and then it comes back 10 times worse.
Right.
Because I wasn't listening. And so now I'm learning how to just soften into, okay, let me lean into these resources. Let me lean into these tools. And I know that takes a lot of work for most people, most of us, because we are so independent. We're so used to doing things a certain way.
Well, we're taught from an early age. You're a big girl, go do that. You're a big boy, go do that. Okay, fine, but I want help. You can do that. Don't get upset. You can manage it on your own.
Don't cry.
Don't cry.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, that's one of those ones, especially for boys.
And it's so unfair.
Be a man. Don't cry. Really?
Yeah.
They haven't learned how to even express themselves yet with words. The crying is what they have to let you know there's something that needs attention.
And not to get off track, but there is something about that I really appreciate. I heard from a Tantra teacher recently, and I'm, now studying Tantra. Right, back to straps, absolutely. And the amazing message that I'm getting through, which Tantra is a whole nother thing, and it's not just what we think about it.
It's energy work, and it's connecting, and it's deepening an experience.
Yeah, and it's a contraction and expansion with life. And one of the things that I heard very humbly through a teacher was it's our responsibility to take care of our brothers and sisters, both men and women, and regardless of gender, regardless of,
race,
sexuality, race, color, we all want love and we all want to be loved. And at the end of the day, that's what I feel life is about. And if we loved ourselves enough to get our needs met in a loving, supportive, generous way without taking from someone else or feeling like I have to impose something on someone, there would be less war. There is less of that in the world. We just need to access it. And
there have been, you spoke about science a little bit before, and there have been studies where you have a couple of individuals who say, okay, we're going to get everybody in this area at this time to get together and just pray on love, or just focus on peace, or just meditate. And during that time period, magical things happen. All of a sudden, in regions where there were wars and difficulty, it seems to quiet down. In areas where somebody is ill, all of a sudden they have wellness. We have not just a human potential, but we have a spiritual potential when we are connected to the divine, whether you say God or you say Jesus or you say Ad Hashem or you say Buddha. Who you ascribe to connect with is an individual thing, but the outcome is the same. There is a higher power, a higher source that we are all connected to. And if we remember that simply by being in a state of love or coming from that heart space, you have the ability to transmute anything. To create love is not just, there's my brother, I love him. It is more a matter of there's a human being, and I'm going to honor that there's another human being there. And I'm going to recognize that they have value and importance, and they have feelings, and that I'm not the only one. But more than that, if I'm kind to them, they're going to be kind to me. That's tremendous.
And if I'm kind, when we're kind to ourselves, we're kind to each other. Because truthfully, if we can't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of anyone.
How often do we hear, as far as love, if you can't love yourself, you can't love another? It's true. How are you supposed to give something that you don't know?
Yeah, it's like I have literally a pie, and I'm holding I'm not able to share something that I want to share. Right, I make a pie and I want to share it with a friend, but there's none left because I gave it to everybody. So either I make another pie, or I just take a little less. Right. And that's, there's a whole nother side of the abundance and the lack and all that. But
equilibrium, it's a matter of how we perceive things. Bottom line is, if you remain in that heart space as much as you possibly can, you will find your life overall much easier. You will find that abundance comes with simplicity. And it's not because you're working so hard at it. It's because you're in the right space to attract all those things that make you happy. And,
it's so interesting because you said something when
I did?
You said many things, amazing things.
Said something.
One of them was about feeling, I used to feel really scattered. I used to feel like I was all over the place, and I still, have to tune into that sense of what is it that I love to travel, I love expansion, and I realized it's not that I was scattered, it's that my energy was increasing, and I needed to access. I was trying to figure out how to access. Yeah, I needed to focus. And what happened was I went in. Because that's the only place that I could go anymore.
Right.
And I had to really look at some dark areas of myself and my soul. And when they say soul searching, that's really, it's a dive. I mean, it's work, and
yeah, you can't just pull the sheet back and go, oh yeah, there's some issues there, and put it back down.
I mean, you could, right? A lot of people do that.
If you really want to accomplish anything.
Yeah. And that's where I'm at. 2018, I think every year, right, we go in with a resolution. Yes. And my word for the year, I have 3 of them. One of them is radical forgiveness. So forgiveness. That's 2 words, yes. I should say terms.
Okay.
3 terms. Radical forgiveness.
Where does the moment come in there, that mini moment?
The mini moment. So the mini moment, that's perfect. Thank you for asking.
You like that little segue there?
Yes. The mini moment is forgiveness of ourselves. And when we make that choice, because it is, when we make the choice to listen to the monkey mind, which I call is, the parent, right, that's trying to keep you safe, and the chatter, we can't stop that. That's not our job our job is to quiet the mind. It's never going to stop. I hate to break everyone's bubble.
No, it's not going to permanently stop, but it's not supposed to, because what you keep referring to as far as the parent mind, I see a little bit differently. I see it as a part of our ego, which is connected to that left hemisphere of the brain, which is there to keep us safe. It is that part that says, oh, you're running in the street. Well, stop first and see if there's a car coming before you get hit. It really does.
It's important.
Have the best intention to keep us safe.
Totally.
But there are times we don't need it to keep us safe because we are already safe. And that's when meditation is so important, and yoga and breath work and contemplative work. All of those things make a huge difference. Share with everybody how to reach you.
How to reach me. So my website, spiritualjunkie.com, is one way.
You have a blog too, yes?
Yes, I am actually re-engaging in my blog. Okay. I have a book, doing workshops, retreats around the country.
Excellent.
And I would love to hear from you any way that I can help.
So again, share with everybody website address so that they hear it clearly, because sometimes it's like, what was that?
Absolutely. www.spiritualjunkie.com. And I am Regina Ozeransky, so delighted and happy to be here, and would love to help serve the community and help serve the world any way that I
And on your website, there's information about events and things, yes?
There is, yes. There's events, and I'm now rebranding.
Traveling
yeah.
Okay, so the easiest thing is spiritualjunkie.com. Take a look. You can reach out to Regina, pick her brain, find out where she's going to be, what place in the country, if she's Montana, if she's New York, if she's Florida, because she's all over the place in a good way. Thank you so much for coming on, honey. It was a pleasure. And give us a call at 888-565-1470 after this break. We'll be right back. Thank you. This is your empowerment psychic, Halley, Elise, one of the top 100 psychics in America. For over 30 years, I have offered psychic readings, programs, spiritual guidance, and other life skill techniques. As our lives have become more complicated, we often reach for answers. Who are we? Where are we headed? Are we pointed in the right direction? In addition, we often are concerned for our loved ones. I have helped thousands of people navigate their life circumstances through different modalities of spiritual and intuitive guidance. Call me at 561-755-2166 and allow me to further explain how I may assist you in clearing the path of yesterday so today and tomorrow will be a success. Call me at 561-755-2166 or visit my site, HalleyElise.com. That's HalleyElise.com. Hi, it's Halley Elise, your empowerment psychic, and it's time to take a few moments from your busy day, unwind, and be inspired as you listen to Insights. I am a top 100 psychic, speaker, and author, and I invite you to join me Tuesdays noontime on WNN Radio. I look forward to speaking with you.
You have been listening to a Top 100 Psychic, Halley Elise, your connection to all things spiritual, psychic, and empowering. For a private session, call 561-755-2166. Now, back to the Halley Elise Show and your empowerment psychic, Halley Elise.
Welcome back. If you didn't catch Regina's web address, I do want to make sure that you hear it again so that you can make sure to reach out to her and take a look at some of the amazing work that she's doing. It is spiritualjunkie.com. And if you were waiting to call in because you didn't want to interrupt the conversation, what was going on, I often hear after I have a guest on that people didn't call because they were like, well, no, you were talking and I didn't want to miss anything. I didn't want to interrupt. Now, if you'd like to call and have a psychic reading, feel free. It's 888-565-1470. Once again, that's 888-565-1470. We're trying to cover so much information here in a short period of time. Before we know it, it's Christmas. It's amazing. We're still celebrating Hanukkah, by the way. For those of you who are going, well, what do you mean you're still celebrating? It's 8 days. See, it's really cute, too, because you hear jokes all the time about, oh, well, you make out, you've got 8 days. Well, not really. The first day you get Hanukkah gelt, so some chocolate coins. Second day, maybe get a pair of socks. Third day, you might get taken to dinner. Fourth day, a little something. The point being, they're not all huge. You know, Christmas, they seem to say, here, you have it under the tree. You've got these magnificent gifts. Well, I don't want to make it sound bad. We get really nice gifts, too. But it's just funny. When my daughter was little, I always went overboard. So it was, she might have 8 gifts on each day. But at some point as she got older, it was a little more complicated because she knew what she wanted. You know, when they're like 1, 2, 3, 4, even 5, you get a lot of leeway. 6, 7, 8, things start to change. By the time they hit 12, watch out because it's, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. The perfect example, my niece, bless her, for her birthdays, for the holidays, doesn't matter what it is, she has a list. And her list, you've seen Santa's list about checking it twice and how it rolls and then scrolls and rolls down the floor. That's my niece. Yep. She has this huge list of, I want this and this and this and this. And they all seem to be at this astronomical level. Kids got good taste. What can I tell you? Thankfully, our family is able to take care of her and her sister very nicely. But it's just kind of funny because at times there is this competition over who's going to get the kids what, because we all see the list. And then you go, oh, well, I was going to get her that. No, I'm going to get her that. a lot of celebrating, but it's a lot of fun. And I do have to say, truly, Christmas is beautiful. I'm actually going Christmas Eve to a service, which I haven't done in years, not since I was in New York, but I have a friend who is going to be opening the service for the evening. So I'm going to see her as well as sit and enjoy. I haven't done that in forever. I used to love the prayers and the songs. Well, I still do, actually. I just haven't been in that environment. When I was up north, we had some very close Christian and Italian friends who we haven't seen in years, but they would invite us and we would go. And it was just such an honor to be in that environment because there was not just a matter of it was the holiday. There was something deeper, something bigger, something more intense. And for Hanukkah, we have different activities, but it's more, I think, on Sabbath, on the weekly Friday night services that I get that same sort of feeling. And of course, high holidays. I think truly every religion has certain moments that you really just want to be connected to. I mean, we all have different types of, we'll say, traditions, things that we enjoy or don't enjoy. So for instance, if you weren't supposed to eat meat on Friday or Sunday or whatever it was, and you thought, oh, well, that's awful because I love meat and I don't like fish and I don't like chicken, then that would be not your favorite thing to ascribe to. And yet it could be that Easter time is your favorite time of the year because of the spring and because of what it represents to you. Again, every religion has traditions and activities that we either love or don't. But this time of the year, for me, it's not really even about the religion. It is about the fact that people, when they're cognizant, are more attentive to one another. They can be kinder to each other. And for those of you who are listening going, oh, yeah, right, that guy just like drove me off the street because he was trying to get to the Santa on the side of the road. Yeah, there's that too. But I find overall, again, when they get cognizant, meaning when they stop for a minute to breathe and they stop to recognize what's going on, they tend to be a little nicer. You'll have that person in line at the coffee shop who buys somebody behind them a cup of coffee. Or you'll go through that turnpike line. I don't know if, well, down here we don't do it anymore. Everything is automatic. But in some places you can still pay a toll and pay for that person who's coming in next. There are just little things that we can do to be thoughtful, to be kind. It would be really wonderful if we were aware of this all year long. We get so busy, so tied up with just our normal day in and day out activities that sometimes we forget to just do something simple as leaving the door open for someone as we're walking through. You know, you're rushing and you're focused on something or you're looking at your phone and boom, the door closes. And this is different from being ill-mannered. This is different from not having children pay attention. I'm talking about adults who have been raised to understand that being kind to somebody or courteous to something is a good thing. This is a great opportunity for all of us. If we stop picking on political candidates and we stop carrying on about what their religion is doing or isn't doing, and we stop looking at how the neighbor drives their car, and just stop. Just breathe and just sit in a space of gratitude for a moment. It becomes really a part of the norm to have a more gentle, kinder environment. Regina and I were talking about coming from that heart space, coming from a place of love. What if you did that every day? I mean, in as much as you're thinking, oh, come on, that's a bit much, it really isn't. If every day you saw somebody and you gave them a big smile and you said hello versus, oh, happy holidays, because you feel like this is the time of the year to do that, but you made it a habitual part of your routine to just acknowledge everybody and do it with such vitality and warmth that they'd have to respond, do you think it would have an impact on them? I guarantee it would. I guarantee that you being kind or thoughtful or pleasant makes a huge difference. And sometimes it's with people that you wouldn't recognize because just taking that brief moment may have made their whole day, may have lifted their spirits because they were going through some sort of trauma. You don't know what's going on inside of somebody else. And this is one thing that I'm truly grateful to my mom for. For as long as I can remember, she would always say, don't make a judgment about somebody. If don't say anything mean about anybody. You know, when you're a little kid, you're like, oh, look, mommy, that man's skinny or that man's fat. It was, don't do that. And I would ask, but why? Why shouldn't you comment on something? And it was because you might hurt somebody's feelings. And I thought that was really interesting as I got older, because obviously I knew better and I wouldn't do that. And I understood more of how things work. But I understand that it's something bigger than that. It's not just hurting somebody's feelings. It is not pointing and making somebody feel as if they're unimportant. It's a matter of allowing somebody to be exactly who they are. Now, listen, we all have opinions and we all have criticism to some degree. We critique everything from food to vehicles to homes to clothing. You name it, we have the ability to critique it. What if you tried for a day not to? Truly, I really wonder how many people would be able to just be and just allow others to be for an entire day. Where when you went to see something, if it were to come out of your mouth that it was something not to your liking or it was something different than you would do, instead of letting it out, you'd say, oh, that's who they are today. Or that person is being who they choose, and then move to something else. Do you think it would change how you see the world? Do you think it would change how you feel about the world? Politics is a real big one because, and you've heard me mention this before, I found it very disturbing. Our election truly was one of the most appalling, for me, not for anybody else, but for me personally, appalling that I have experienced. And my first election that I remember is when I was a child and President Nixon was being elected. Throughout the years, you hear political battles. Everybody wants to tell you how good they are, how good they're going to do. But what they do instead is they focus on the bad points of the other guy. How does that help them look good? I just honestly don't understand that. So if we didn't do that, and you could say, all right, well, listen, this guy really is bad. Don't you see? Sure, I could see it if that's what I was looking for. Just something to ponder. Listen, however your view is, allow yourself to be, hopefully, from that heart space. I wish all of you that are celebrating a very Merry Christmas. If you are still celebrating Hanukkah, Happy Hanukkah. Enjoy lighting the menorah. And the best thing of all, enjoy the food. Have a great time. I'll see you folks next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Tune in every Tuesday on WNN at noon for an hour of peace, inspiration, and psychic phenomena with empowerment psychic Halley Elise. And be sure to visit HalleyElise.com. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.